Right, all you music makers, video game players, and entertainers from all around the world. Welcome to the 550th edition of Music Village. I am your host from the East Coast, DJ Smokey, bringing the best from the North, South, East, and West that the world of music and games has to offer. And seeing the fact in traditional fashion, we're late with yet another milestone show to kick off the new year. We might as well waste no time and explain to you guys what's going to happen on this very special milestone edition of Music Village. And according to Colin the Maestro, mid-month milestone. Nice! Because we kick things off by answering your questions at home for a very special edition of the Music Village Mailbag. And reason why it's special? Yeah, we're wearing a gi this week for it. You know, to fit in with the year of the fist. Also, besides that, we go ahead and check out some games from a planet far away from here and from the Steam Machine Alive for another edition of the Friday Night Greenlight. Then we go from green to a technical golden color for a very special handheld wolf fighting edition of the DJ Smokey's True Video Game Stories. And Carl and my show asked me, what is my problem with wolves and video games? Everything. Everything. And you'll find out more after this story, too. Also, besides that, we go ahead and check out what you independent artists got planned for this weekend for another edition of the Indy for the weekend, which is me giving you guys local content information from local artists performing in a local area live near you. Then finally, last but not least, and hopefully before the evening traffic hits, we wrap up this show yet another edition of the Up to Speed News, which is me giving you guys news stories from this week from, you guessed it, all around the world. I guess with that said, I might as well tell Carl and the Maestro to kick up the beats, crank out the tunes, and most importantly, let the confetti rain to celebrate yet another milestone under our belts. Because it's time for us to bring some fun and delight on your Friday afternoon/night. Only here, right here on Music Village. So let's get this show started, folks. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Music Village. And like we said during the intro, we are keeping to the time-honored tradition of us being late for these shows. Because, yeah, for the past 54 milestones, we have always had late episodes of Music Village to mark our milestones, so what's not one more? And according to Carl and the Maestro, is there ever going to be a day you're on time for one of these things? No, there's not. And I've come to be at peace with that. So, yeah, don't remind me. But outside of us being late for a milestone show like no other, folks, I think it's time for us to open up that mailbag and answer your questions at home for another edition of the Music Village Mailbag. Now, Carl and the Maestro, if you will, please bring the mailbag over here, and could you please give me that headband? All right. There you go. Nice and snug with the headset on. I am at peace. I am at calm. Let's answer those questions. Yeah, I'm going to answer it. Just give me a second. Trying to find my center. All right, enough of that. let's go answer your questions for the first time this year. You know, I probably should have said that too, but nevertheless, the first question we have up says, Dear DJ Smokey, do you play fighting games anymore? And if not, why not? Well, to answer the question simply, no. I unfortunately no longer play fighting games, and the reason for that is controllers are expensive. Now, in my case, it's not because I'll rage out and throw a controller on the ground like AJ Styles would. No, it's more or less because whenever I try to get a combo memorized and I accidentally hit the button a little bit too hard to get the combo out, because sometimes it's a little delayed, yeah, it really does cost me a lot of controllers. I think back when I was playing Tekken Revolution, that's how I lost 2 controllers. 2 of them. From playing that game online and playing with Lily trying to beat a king online. And also from trying to beat someone who kept doing the front kick thrust style with Law, I do believe. Yeah, that Enter the Dragon thrust kick that he kept doing. Yeah, with Law. Yeah, I had to figure out how to backstep and immediately tornado drop kick him in the face to have him stop doing that. So, yeah, it took a while for me to learn that. And the next question that we have up says, Dear DJ Smokey, happy anniversary, and what was your favorite video game story you've told in the past 11 years? Oh boy. Well, to answer that question, I would have to say the one that everybody keeps bringing up in conversation, the one for Game Day 98, where my brother beat me 175-3. Now, a couple of friends that I had a while back ago gave me a whole bunch of football advice just in case I run into my brother again on the gridiron, saying that I got to learn how to release the ball, I got to find the right man to throw the ball to, I got to stop throwing those Hail Marys and start throwing, snap plays or run plays. And no matter how many times they tell me when I play other people online and try to beat them in a sports game, boy, do I get spanked. But not as bad as I used to. So that's the video game story I look to saying that was one of my favorites. I think another one outside of that probably would have to be the one where my sister was involved in that thing with Splinter Cell when she was trying to disarm the bombs and the bomb changed color in her face and blew up and sent her healed to Jesus. That was another one of my favorite ones. And a couple of ones from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, a sprinkle of ones from Vice City, and I would have to say another one would have to be also from GoldenEye 007, because there was some fun ones there too. But if I had to pick one, Game Day would definitely be at the top of that list. That and maybe the first video game story we've ever told involving Resident Evil, the director's cut, the original one. No, actually, no, that was the one that we did, that was the first one, was based off of Resident Evil 2, according to Carl and the Maestro, and yeah, off the demo disc for that. We never got the full version of Resident Evil 2, so yeah, it has a special place in my heart, is ultimately what I'm trying to tell you fans at home. And the next question that we have up says, Dear DJ Smokey, what fighting game that you've played and told a video game story for you would like to see make a return on common consoles, and who would you play against? Okay, I have a top 3 for this. Number 1 would have to be Bloody Roar, because not many people know about that game, and I got a feeling people turning into animals once from humans reminded me of something from Animorphs fighting each other in a ring with environmental knockouts. Yeah, I would love to see that game make its way back to modern consoles. That's 1. 2, I would have to say the original Dynasty Warriors. Not the one where you're fighting people on horseback and trying to protect the village. I mean the original Dynasty Warriors where you're just 2 fighters trying to duke it out for, I guess, glory or whatever it may be. That I would love to see return back to modern consoles. And the third one and the last one, man, they already brought back Killer Instinct. I would have to say Marvel Nemesis. I would love to see if they would make a sequel to that game and bring it back. I would definitely love to see that game make an absolute return and see if they could bring back wherever the world the Punisher went off to. Well, they did take out the Incredible Hulk during that game, so not him. Maybe bring War Machine into it. You know, a couple of the modern day fighters of the Marvel Universe to fight against the Imperfects. That would be nice to see if they would bring that back. And for the answer for all of these games, who would I want to fight against in them? My sister. And the reason why in the world I say my sister for game number 1 is because she beat the daylights out of me with the Chimera, and I want revenge. For game number 2, I had never really played my sister in the world of Dynasty Warriors, but I got a feeling if I use, I think his name is Zhang Lunge or Hausen Dun, I could beat the daylights out of her. And the one with the giant ball that's covered in paper instead of being the spike ball that you should use in combat, that's the person I think I could beat my sister with. And the last game, yeah, for those who heard the video game stories in the past, and I would have to say that's another one of my favorite video game stories, when she knocked me out of the ring when I was Johnny and I went flying like a rag doll off the side of a building. Yeah, I owe her a little bit of revenge for that. I want my revenge. You know, like James Brown would say, my patience thins on revenge. I want revenge. I need revenge. I gotta have revenge. So the day I ever see those games have some form of HD release, I don't care if I gotta hop on a plane or a train or the first thing smoking to where she lives. I'm getting a console and I'm gonna get my revenge. And then hopefully tell you guys that I won. But chances are, knowing her skill level and adaptivity or the ability to adapt in battle, yeah, it's not gonna be an easy fight. I already know. Carl and the Maestro shaking their head over in the corner saying, then why did you bring it up? Well, I thought I had a chance. I was confident on the mic. I thought I had a chance. But, yeah, no. I don't think I have much of a chance. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try. Notice how I didn't say Smash Brothers for any of those, because she would annihilate me in that. And with those questions answered, folks, we have one more left to go. That says, dear DJ Smokey, you talked about trying to learn some form of martial arts or kung fu fighting style. Have you learned a fighting style? And if not, which one would you love to learn? Well, no, I have not learned a fighting style since the last time this question was asked. And if I had to learn anything, I would have to say Sambo. Yeah, definitely Sambo. I don't know why, but the ability to toss somebody from one side of the mat to the other and still be able to, you know, knock the wind out of them would be a cool fighting style for me to learn. Because as much as I love karate and all those other styles you see in movies, I think I would have to learn how to stretch, first of all, for me to do all that. And I got a feeling it would take years upon years upon years for me to master. I mean, same with Sambo, but at the same time, at least I could use my weight to my advantage to take my opponent out. And Carl and Maestros give me the thumbs up for that answer. All right? And if you guys want to go ahead and ask me any questions on this live microphone to your homes, then you can head on over to our websites known as, or our Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, as well as our SoundCloud pages, still all named the same, only known as Music Village Radio. Or for those out there who wants to try the other routes, you can head on over to our our YouTube, Twitter, as well as our Discord pages, only known as DWH and 0012. And for those who are fans of the said snail mail or email route, you can head on over to our email page known as musicvillagebluestown@yahoo.com to send your questions over there too. And trust me, we will answer it in the best and silliest way known possible over a live microphone in the best ways known possible. And most likely wearing a silly outfit themed after the months, according to Carl and the Maestro, which, yes, you're right. And I guess with that said, folks, wraps it up for this year's starting edition of the Music Village Update. And when we return, we'll be back with more Music Village that you can shake a stick at right after this. So don't wear your horns out in traffic just yet, folks, and stay tuned. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Music Village. Now, during the break, we've got asked from someone, what was our favorite tiger knee we've thrown in a game thus far? And I would have to say between Destiny, and I'm not sure if we've ever told that video game story before, but after my sister told me that you can throw a knee in that, we started playing it. So eventually we'll tell you the story about how we were able to throw a tiger knee in Destiny, or Destiny as we called it at one point. And also alongside with it, probably an M. Dickey game to throw in there as well as one of our favorite games to throw knees in. And speaking of games, folks, I think it's time for us to mention some games from a planet far away from here and from the Steam Machine alike for another edition of the Friday Night Greenlight that hopefully has a tiger knee in it. See, now they got me in the mood to find one. And the first game that we have up comes from none other than the itch.io page of, and apparently according to Colin Maestro, from the developers Sin Time with their said game of Coffee Break. And this game automatically reminds me of, I would have to say, a combination of the League of Super Evil and Invader Zim. And a little hint of an episode of The Outer Limits. You know, in a what-if scenario, if you were there trying to prevent the world from blowing up, but at the same time trying to watch out for a coffee machine. And here's hoping in the near future for this game that you get a chance to pick what coffee you get to drink. And Colin Maestro said, why is that important? Well, it's important that if it's non-decaf or if it's decaf. Because, you know, you don't want to be wired while trying to watch the planet to make sure it doesn't blow up. And Colin Maestro said, all right, fair enough. All right, yeah. So here's hoping there's a chance for you to have decaf coffee or have your own selection of coffee for the coffee machine after you fix it. Even though the PR department's giving me that look sideways too that Carl and the Maestro gave me. But besides Carl and the Maestro giving me a sideways look over my preference of coffee if I drink it, the next game that we have up comes from the developers Fiction Factory Games with their said game of The Shadow over Cyberspace. And this game automatically reminds me of a combination of the way things work with a little hint of, I guess, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? And Carl and the Maestro adding their 2 cents, saying that with that way that guy looks, it reminds them of the Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. Really, I don't see that evil guy behind the computer over in the corner. Well, if Cthulhu was that guy behind the computer, then yeah, sure, I can see it. Now, the only thing I hope for in the near future for this game is maybe a chance for you to, I guess, enter different channels to avoid the shadow in outer space. Cyberspace. And Colin Maestro said, no, you can't avoid him. He follows you on every channel. Of course. Of course he does. Well, here's hoping in the near future there's a chance for you to lock him into that said cyberspace-like universe on one of the channels. And Colin the Maestro said that might be a possibility. All right. And the next game that we have up, besides trying to channel surf your way out of trouble, comes from the itch.io page of Daniel Los Chepkov, we'll go with the second one just in case with their set game of How to Cook a Steak. And this game automatically reminds me of the amount of meat that I was able to burn in the game of Monster Hunter. And here's hoping in the near future for this set game, since I got a feeling whatever sort of Markland beast is going to come after you for an overcooked or an undercooked steak, that you can add some form of spice or something to it just in case you overcook it to retain the flavor. So that whatever the world that thing is with red eyes and about 7 or 9 feet tall doesn't throw you into the woods. Yeah, apparently Carl and the Maestro's hoping for the same thing and hoping not to get eaten by the said creature if the steak's not cooked right. Me too. But besides getting eaten by a snow beast, the next game that we have up comes from the developers Crumb Games. Nice developer name, by the way, with their set game of Mecha Blood Quarry Assault. And this game automatically reminds me of, I would have to say Descent. Yeah, definitely reminds me of Descent with a little hint of Doom in there as well, too. Now, here's hoping in the near future for this set game that not only you get a chance to upgrade your said mech robot to do some pretty cool attacks, but also hoping that you can also get some form of railgun attached to this robot to help you take out whatever's down that hallway. And Carl and the Maestro said, what hallway? You see that big thing all the way down at the end of the hallway? Yeah, that went over toward the left. The big mech robot. Yeah, here's hoping you can get something to take that out. But besides helping Carl and the Maestro find a giant mechanical Markland beast that they couldn't see before, the next game that we have up, and speaking of Markland beasts, comes from the developers Game Farm and Artillery with their set game of Jotun Slayer Hordes of Hell. And this game automatically reminds me of Diablo. Yep, definitely reminds me of Diablo. And here's hoping in the near future for this set game that there's some form of necromancer class that allows you to take the creatures out and bring a couple of them back to life to help you in battle. Cause I got a feeling your attacks are gonna have some form of cooldown time. So a chance to have a little backup help you along the way would be good. And hopefully they can somehow get others to join the ranks. And apparently Carl and the Maestro said, nope, not possible. But at the same time, there is a character that allows you to control a giant wave of fire that can wipe them all out. All right, I'll go with that one instead. Well, if they're not immune to fire, that is, then you would need an ice attack that has a wave attack, as well as a lightning attack just in case. So here's hoping it covers all the elements. But besides trying to cause elemental waves of destruction, the next game that we have up, and apparently according to Carl and the Maestro, next game we have up comes from the developers Beyond Those Hills with their set game of Cat Detective Albert Wild. And this game automatically reminds me of, a what if scenario if Dick Tracy was in a animal universe that's based off of, well, animals, with a hint of Animal Crossing in there as well, too. Now, here's hoping in the near future for this set game that you get a chance to have an assistant help you out along the way. Because I got a feeling you're going to need a bloodhound assistant to help you truly sniff out those clues. And according to Carl and the Maestro, nope, you work alone and you have to talk to a moose to learn where some of these crimes are taking place. A moose? Where you see a moose? Oh, the thing sitting in the chair next to the window. Oh, yeah, that is a moose. Okay, how's that gonna help your chances of solving a crime? And they don't know. All right, I'll take it. And the last but not least game that we have up for this week comes from the developers 1-2Play with their set game of Turbo Balls. And this game automatically reminds me of, I would have to say it reminds me of Super Monkey Ball if humans were in the ball instead of monkeys. Now, here's hoping in the near future for this game, and Carl and Michael said you can customize your ball and character inside of it, but here's hoping also a chance for you to design your own course. Because I got a feeling you indie gamers out there is going to come up with a course so crazy, it's going to throw somebody through a loop, literally and figuratively. Especially in a universe like Super Monkey Ball, yeah, definitely going to see a giant oversized loop that's going to send somebody through one. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out any other cool games that comes from a planet far away from here, yet close enough to be beamed into your homes in less than 24 hours, then you can go ahead and head on over to the Free Game Planet page of one man only known as freegameplanet.com to check out a whole bunch of cool, weird, strange, awesome, and frightening games that are just out of this world. You also want to go ahead and check out any other cool games that are still coming through the Steam machine via the cargo ship, cargo plane, or even subterranean train that is currently rumbling beneath your toes. Then you can go ahead and head on over to the store.steampower page, only known as store.steampower.com, and click ever so lightly on that upcoming button while trying to do a Hong Kong Fui karate chop through that upcoming button to check out a whole bunch of cool games that I got a feeling when you hit that buy button is gonna say, hiya! And if you're wondering at home, no, we didn't chop a board because we knew at the speed we were going, it wasn't going to work and we were going to hurt our wrists for the rest of the week. So we can't risk that. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. And I guess with that said, folks, I think it's time for us to head back to those musical tunes. And when we return, we'll be back with yet another new DJ Smokey's True Video Game Stories right after this. So don't get lost in that evening or afternoon traffic just yet, folks, and stay tuned. Right, all you video gamers, welcome to yet another handheld Golden Wolf Fighting Edition of the DJ Smokey's True Video Game Stories. And with a title like that, we decided to go with the game none other than Dragon Ball Z, The Legacy of Goku. And if my memory serves me correct, this will be the first handheld Dragon Ball Z game we've been mentioned on the show. Nice! And with that fact out of the way, folks, I think it's time for us to tie up our wrist tape and make sure we're filled up with sensu beans as we get ready to paint the picture. All right. This video game story began approximately 22 years ago, right after I was able to purchase this game on the day released, because that's how excited for this game I was. And at first, I didn't know what I was getting into. I would immediately just go around trying to fight anything and everything, and that strategy at first would work until I would get to the part when I was in the woods fighting a whole bunch of wolves. And seeing the fact I was Goku in this game, I thought I was invincible. I thought that, hey, you know, whatever I fight against, I could probably punch it once, laugh it off, and move on. But for some strange reason, those wolves packed a punch. And every single time I would fight against those wolves, they would just immediately take me out. Time and time and time again, I would be defeated by these said wolves. Till one day I would decide, you know what? Enough's enough. I'ma just keep training in this forest till I'm strong enough to take out these wolves and whatever else comes my way. So after about a week and a half of just sitting and just taking out these wolves in the forest, I would realize that my power level would be at a pretty high level for level 15 when originally in that forest I was at level 4. And after I was able to get that high and just zip my way out of that dino forest and take out all the other bad guys that was featured at the time, including members of the Ginyu Force and even Vegeta and his cronies, I would finally be able to make my way to the final level for this game and take on Frieza. And with all the training I did in the forest, and the training that I would do against other creatures in this game that I almost completely forgot to mention, along the lines of dinosaurs, bad guys at banks, clouds, and even some weird creatures that was featured in a place where I would fall off that giant dragon bridge. And Colin Maestro said, wouldn't that be hell? Well, I didn't think it was hell. I just thought it was a underworld of some type, but I guess you're right. But after taking on all those creatures, it set me up perfectly to take out Frieza in an instant, and I would be able to beat him in under 2 attempts. Mostly using not only the boosted up version of the Kamehameha wave, but also using the solar flare, blinding him by the eyes, and just causing him to get taken out. But after I was done just beating the game, seeing the ending, watching the credits roll, I would get surprised finding out that this game has New Game Plus in it. And that would bring the biggest smile on my face my sister saw that day, because I would tell her, this game has New Game Plus. You know what that means? And she said that I can play? No, it means I can fight those wolves again. And the first thing I would do would immediately jump right back to that forest and take out those wolves using some of the strongest attacks known to man. Now, according to what I've been told by Colin the Maestro, those wolves at that level was about level 6, maybe level 7, but I didn't care. I, at that point, was just about to hit level 40 and had a bone to pick with those wolves that took me out with ease. With me just going around and just immediately slapping them upside the face with supercharged versions of the Kamehameha wave, my sister looking over my shoulder because I said, hey, sis, come here, look at this, Kamehameha! And she said, now why in the world did you do that for? That was completely unnecessary. Sitting there, mind you, laughing at the whole thing. But at the same time, I would tell her, I'm getting my revenge. You know how many times I was killed by those wolves? More than I can count. And anytime I see a wolf now in this game, I'm going to immediately take it to them. In the worst ways known possible. And that's exactly what I would do for the next 15 minutes. Just running around, hitting any wolf I see with a Kamehameha wave, sending a gold beam of light right through them, causing them to fall down and look like they were asleep after getting hit with that beam for me to say, yeah, you better be asleep, you better be asleep. And then my sister said, oh, can I play now? And sure, you can play the game as much as you want. But if you run into any wolves, just be prepared to almost get taken out by them. And of course, in my sister's typical style, nope, she didn't get taken out by a single one of those wolves. Every single one that she went by, she was able to kill at a distance and just make her way towards the final level with no problems. See, I tell you, I think it's my luck. That's my problem. It has to be my luck. And I guess with that said, folks, wraps it up for a very special handheld Golden Wolf Fighting Edition of the DJ Smokey's True Video Game Stories. And with that, we'll be back with more right after this. So stay tuned. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Music Village. And yeah, about that video game story, apparently my sister was able to defeat not only the dinosaurs as well as the wolves with that strategy, but was even able to take out Nappa without taking a single hit, which still blows my mind to this very day, because out of all the people to fight in that game, Nappa was the toughest, worse than Frieza. That says a lot. That or I need to get better at trying to beat creatures in RPG type games. Well, I learned a lot from my sister, so I should be ready for them. But besides learning from the more experienced people in RPG games and adding a couple of tricks of my own to the trade, I think it's time for us to go into one of my favorite parts of the show. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, none other than the Indy for the weekend, which is me giving you guys local content information from local artists performing in a local area live near you. And we kick things off with Friday, January 17th, and the first band that we have up is Stu Hooten, who's going to be performing at the Simply Greek Restaurant and Bar in Long Branch, New Jersey at 6 p.m. Russell Norkovic is going to be performing at the Under the Moon Cafe in Lambertville, New Jersey at 6 p.m. Gary Arias is going to be performing at the Crow's Restaurant and Brew Pub in Sparta, New Jersey at 9:30 p.m. Oh, wait, according to Carl and the Maestro, that's a 6, not a 9. Really? At 6:30 p.m. But ballpark errors aside, folks, next band we've got up is Extra Rich in Class, who's going to be performing at the Par 440 Restaurant and Brunch in Millburn, New Jersey at 7 p.m. Pam McCoy is going to be performing at the Seahorse in Asbury Park, New Jersey at 7 p.m. Gerald Esposito is going to be performing at the Villa Vittoria Restaurante in Brick, New Jersey at 7 p.m. Kevin McGowan is going to be performing at the Cranberry Inn in Cranberry, New Jersey at 7:30 p.m. Misty Blues is going to be performing at the Lizzie Rose Music Room in Tuckerton, New Jersey at 7:30 p.m. Mike Garangia with the Coots is going to be performing at the St. Stephen's Green Public House in Spring Lake, New Jersey at 8 p.m. The Flippin' Mickeys is going to be performing at the Bolero Hotel and Resort in Wildwood, New Jersey at 8 p.m. And to finally wrap things up for Friday night, you can see the Matt Coffee Band with Scott Sherrod, who's going to be performing at the Matt Coffee Band with KCS Band in Blairstown, New Jersey at 8 p.m. And on Saturday, January 18th, you can see these following bands performing in a local area near you live. Storm and Norman Selden, nice band name, is going to be performing at the Wonder Bar in Asbury Park, New Jersey at 12 p.m. Stu Hooten is going to be performing at the Fox Hollow Vineyards in Homedale, New Jersey at 2 p.m. Gary Arias is going to be performing at the Lenape Lodge in Newton, New Jersey at 7 p.m. Dave Fields is going to be performing at the 10th Ave Burrito in Belmar, New Jersey at 8 p.m. The Coots is going to be performing at the Par 440 Restaurant Lounge in Millburn, New Jersey at 8 p.m. James Popik is going to be performing at the 3BR Distillery in Keyport, New Jersey at 8 p.m. Mike Grunge with Sharp Edge is both going to be performing at the Hoover's Tavern in Morris Plains, New Jersey at 8 p.m. You can also see the Divas Band, who's going to be performing at the Your Place Bar and Grill in North Arlington, New Jersey at 8 p.m. And to finally wrap things up for Saturday night, you can see Pam McCoy, who's going to be performing at the Barnacle Bills in Rumson, New Jersey at 8:30 p.m. And on Sunday, January 19th, you can see these following bands performing in a local area near you live. Gospel Sunday Brunch with Jim Sloan and Friends. It's going to be performing at the Red Brick Tavern in Conroe, Texas at 11:30 a.m. Vibe Irie. It's going to be performing at the Seville Quarter in Pensacola, Florida at 4 p.m. Misty Blues. It's going to be performing at the Cafe Lena in Saratoga Springs, New York at 4 p.m. Fresh Breath. It's going to be performing at the Laguna Bob in South Padre Island, Texas at 5 p.m. Eleanor Underhill and Friends. It's going to be performing at the Gray Eagle Music Hall and Pub in Asheville, North Carolina at 5 p.m. The Springs. Nice band name. It's going to be performing at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, Tennessee at 5 p.m. Sunday Night Jazz Jam. It's going to be performing at the Mr. Peabody's in Encinitas, California at 6 p.m. Battle Mountain. It's going to be performing at the Jammin' Java DC in Vienna, Virginia at 6 p.m. Andrew Blayton. It's going to be performing at the Pody's Roadhouse in Spicewood, Texas at 7 p.m. Rodney Block. Nice band name. It's going to be performing at the Rev Room in Little Rock, Arkansas at 7 p.m. And to finally wrap things up for Sunday night, you can see Randy Barnett and the Second Chance Blues Band, who's going to be performing at the Firewater Saloon in Atlantic City, New Jersey at 9 p.m. And on Monday, January 20th, Martin Luther King Day, you can see these following bands performing in a local area live near you. The Chrome Wheels Band. It's going to be performing at the Laguna Bob in South Padre Island, Texas at 3 p.m. Ricky Ray Solo. It's going to be performing at the Main Street Station Bistro Cabaret Piano Bar in Gordonville, California at 6 p.m. Sky Covington Live. It's going to be performing at the Aretha's Jazz Cafe in Detroit, Michigan at 6 p.m. Howard and Hunkler. It's going to be performing at the Little Bar Restaurant in Goodland, Florida at 6:30 p.m. Denise Johnson with Sky Covington Live. It's both going to be performing at the Aretha's Jazz Cafe in Detroit, Michigan at 7 p.m. Zach Johnson. It's going to be performing at the Red Brick Tavern in Conroe, Texas at 7 p.m. And to finally wrap things up for Monday night and for all the bands we're going to mention for this week, you can see Chris Years, Seth Turner, and the High Desert Drifters. Nice band names. Who's all going to be performing at the Jason Allen Kitchen and Bar in Las Vegas, Nevada at 10 p.m. If you guys want to go ahead and check out the complete list of bands that we couldn't list during this very broadcast, and trust me folks, there were a lot of them, you can head on over to ReverbNation.com to check out the complete list of bands that we couldn't list during this very broadcast. While you're over there, check out a couple of their cool tunes. Trust me, they're worth the listen. Like we say at the end of all of these skits, go out there, support your local artists, and see these guys perform live. And trust me, they'll love you for it. I guess with that said, I think it's time for us to head back into that music and continue to listen into these Diamonds in the Rough only here, right here on Music Village. So don't get lost in that afternoon or evening traffic just yet, folks, and stay tuned. And we're back with the show that will be one day simulcasting straight from YouTube or any other places we can, only known as Music Village. And the reason we bring that up is because someone asked that, hey, one day will you ever decide to do a multicast from Music Village Radio to other audio sources and video sources? And the answer is maybe. If it's possible, we'll give it a shot. Hey, you never know. I'd be successful. And Carl and Michael said after 11 years, it will be. It will be. All right? I'll take your word for it. But besides a multicast stream that'll take place in the near future for a show that's been on for 11 years as of next week to the date, I'm looking at my watch right now. Oh, it's just about that time. It's the witching hour, which means it's time for us to be brought up to speed with news stories from this week from, you guessed it, all around the world. And in our first news story, and in sad news from the world of TV, movies, and music, none other than David Lynch, who was a part of not only the said classic series of Twin Peaks, but Blue Velvet as well, has unfortunately passed away this past week at the age of 78 years old. Yikes! And one thing I do remember him from, even though a lot of people will say right off the top of their heads that he was a part of not only the Elephant Man and Eraserhead, but I always known him from Blue Velvet. Very powerful scenes that he was in. And not to mention the fact that he actually did the scores for that and Twin Peaks is pretty impressive. And according to Carl and the Maestro, he would also be a part of not only the other side series of Twin Peaks, The Return, but would also even be a part of the Dune series as well, too. Nice! And we here at Music Village would like to say on behalf of David Lynch, may your work live on forever, and may you forever rest in peace. And in other sad news and in news from the world of baseball, Mr. Baseball himself, Bob Uecker, that I've been calling Uecker for 1,000 years now, has unfortunately passed away at the age of 90 years old. Now, this guy was a heavy inspiration for me for announcing in baseball games and always wanted to do it because of how funny this guy was. Not only that, but the fact that this man who always would call team games for the Milwaukee Brewers, also a part of the movie Major League and Major League 2, even a part of The Simpsons, Futurama, and a litany list of other awesome things, including a game called MLB 98. Yes, he was in that video game from a video game story we told many a moons ago. But yeah, absolutely awesome baseball announcer. Wish he was a part of more baseball games. And yeah, it's gonna be a very difficult shoes to fill because that guy definitely brought a special magic to the world of baseball with his announcing skills. And we here at Music Village would like to say on behalf of Bob Uecker, who is also a WWE Hall of Famer as well too, may your work live on forever, and may you forever rest in peace. And in other news, and hopefully news that'll bring up the mood in the room, for you fans of WWE and TNA and all of the crossover events they've been having as of late, well, WWE and TNA would finally make it official by announcing a multi-year partnership aiming for creative and cool opportunities that will take place in the near future. And one of the first pay-per-views they made an announcement for the crossover will be Genesis, which I'm surprised. Usually Genesis takes place and it's the first pay-per-view after Bound for Glory, but kind of taking place late this year. But then again, it's been a while since I've seen the whole pay-per-view order. But we would hear from Shawn Michaels saying, "We look forward to growing and evolving our partnership with TNA Wrestling and its outstanding group of athletes, creating new opportunities to further develop our talents and to elevate the viewing experience at home." And I got a feeling that's exactly what's going to happen in the world of TNA and WWE with this crossover. And here's hoping we get a chance to see more people from TNA be a part of the Royal Rumble. Because for those who didn't know, last year, Jordynne Grace was a part of the Women's Royal Rumble. And Joe Henry also was a part of a NXT pay-per-view fighting against All Ego Ethan Page for the NXT Championship. So with this new partnership, I got a feeling things are going to get real good around here, and I hope it leads to, I guess them being featured in the next upcoming WWE game, or get this folks, a chance for people's wildest dreams to come true from, I do believe there was a YouTuber out there who actually came up with some giant oversized TNA versus WWE scenario from the video games. If that comes to life at Survivor Series by next year thanks to this partnership, that's going to be immense. And I can't wait to see the possibilities of it happening. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out this cool partnership and what is going to happen from it, then you can go ahead and head on over to the website only known as WWE.com to check it out for yourself. And in other news and more or less dead meat news, despite the wildfires that are currently taking place in Los Angeles, we would see dead meat still on the hunt for the kills and would provide one with none other than in a violent nature. Now, I've been told on a multitude of occasions from Carl and the Maestro to see this horror film, but I've yet to see it. And I got a feeling after the kill count, I might give it a whirl. And I got a feeling with that creepy mask that looks like something that was created out of Dr. Frankenstein's basement. But yeah, I got a feeling it's going to be a good one. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out the kill count for a violent nature from James A. Janice's Stories of Dead Meat, then you can go ahead and head on over to the YouTube page of one man only known as Dead Meat to check it out for yourselves. And I guess with all those regular news stories out of the way for this week, folks, you guys at home know what time it is. No, Carl and the Maestro, it is not time for us to activate that confetti gun just yet. We're going to wait until the end of the show. No, it's time for us to go into a very special 55th milestone edition of... And step back for this one. It's going to be a big one. 55 milestones, we need to do it big. Video as big as it can get, folks. As big as it can get. And Carla the Maestro laughing over in the corner. Thanks for ruining it. But nevertheless, folks, in our first video game news story, and still laughing over in the corner. In our first video game news story, for you fans out there of Mortal Kombat and always wanted to see what Conan can bring to the table, and I don't mean O'Brien, folks, well, we have some good news for you. Because Conan the Destroyer, or Conan the Barbarian, finally a part of Mortal Kombat and has a trailer to show how well he would fit in the world of Mortal Kombat. And after checking out the trailer and the fatality that he would have, I got a feeling his secondary one just might be a little bit worse than his first. But a hell of a start nonetheless. And if you guys out there want to go ahead and check out not only the brutal fatality, but also the cool moves that Conan brings to the world of Mortal Kombat, then you can go ahead and head on over to the YouTube page of one man only known as Mortal Kombat to check it out for yourselves. And as a little bit of a heads up for you fans out there who wants to try out Conan the Barbarian when he releases, he will be available as of January 21st of 2025. So as of next week, nice! And in other news of the video game variety, and more or less news from the world of the Bronami Code. Because this week for the Bronami Code, they would decide to get none other than Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. Yes, the husband and wife team that would be able to play the classic game of Hellish Court. Now, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I would see Mansoor and, of course, none other than Mason play this cool game, a part of Up, Up, Down, Down. And it's nice to see that they're spreading a good word about this cool game with none other than Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, with a couple of very cool kills that would take place during it as well, too. And at the same time, makes me wonder if I should play this game myself. And Carla Maestro said, oh, well, you'll probably fare well with the guy with the giant sword. Yeah, but I got a feeling with the girl with the musketeer sword, that might end badly. Yeah, because it's not the size of the sword, it's how you use it. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out who would win between Kip and Penelope in a game of Hellish Court, then you can go ahead and head on over to the YouTube page of one man only known as AEW Games to check it out for yourselves. And in other video game news, and more or less Grand Theft Auto Online news, for you fans out there looking for a little bit of extra cash from the brute force file, well, I have some good news for you. Because it's been announced that not only they're giving a couple of extra dollars for the said brute force file, a part of the Agents of Sabotage, but also this week you're getting a bonus payout double style from the classic career rewards that you would get from it as well too. And apparently, according to Carla the Maestro, for you fans out there who are able to finish the priority file and any of the 3 FIB files, would be able to go home with 6 figures added to your account as well too. And alongside with that, if you're also able to complete any of those said files, you can also get none other than the Merryweather hoodie that'll be delivered to your account within 72 hours. Not bad. And for you fans out there looking for a little extra cash to help you buy other cool things in Grand Theft Auto, they're giving double the amount of money for payphone hits this week, and the Overtime Rumble making a return, getting double the amount of money as well too. Nice. And alongside with all of that, for the lucky wheel vehicle this week, none other than the benefactor Sterling GT. Classic car, classic speed. And I don't know why I'm holding a thumbs up. Nobody can see that at home, but definitely a cool car to own. And for those fans out there wondering what the car meet vehicle is for this week, none other than the Vapid Flash GT. If you're able to place in the top 3 circuit for the races over the next 4 days. So, if you're able to pull that off, you'll get the keys to the ride. And for the discounts for this week with Carl and the Maestro, give me the list. Would not only see garage properties, not only small, medium, and large, 30% off for this week, but also the Vapid Hustler Muscle Car, 50% off. The Fitzer Comet, 50% off. The Vapid Blade, 50% off. The Gallivanter Baller LE, 50% off. The Karen Sultan RS Classic, 30% off. The Albany Brigham, 30% off. Even the Mammoth Patriot Mil-Spec Off-Road Vehicle, 30% off. The Classy Drift Yosemite and Tampa, both 30% off. The Vapid Click Wagon Muscle Car, 30% off. The Obey Omnis EGT. I actually never heard of that car, but still 30% off. And then finally, the Buckingham Nimbus plane, 30% off for this week. And as a bit of a heads up for you fans out there, the L. Strickler rifle still available, a part of the gun van inventory for this week. And if you guys and gals out there want to figure out what are the crazy and zany updates and deals that are still a steal in the world of Rockstar that you want to go ahead and check out for yourselves, then you can head on over to the socialclub.rockstargames page of one man only known as socialclub.rockstargames.com and just click ever so lightly on that newswire button to check out all of those cool deals for yourselves. And I guess with that said, for this week, you have all officially been brought up. And hold on a second, folks. In between the confetti, I gotta get down with the beat. Just 1 sec. All right, after 55 milestones, I still got the rhythm. Nice. All right, that's enough of that, but you've been brought up to speed. And I guess with that said, I think it's time for us to head back to that music one more time. And when we return, we'll be back with the final segment for Music Village for this week, right after this. So don't go blowing out your horn in rush hour traffic just yet, folks. And stay tuned. Well, ladies and gentlemen, seeing the fact that the evening traffic is rolling in, the street lights are on, and it's time for us to get out of here before we get caught in that late night traffic, we might as well bring Music Village for this week to an emphatic close. But don't worry, if you miss anything from this milestone show we were able to give you, we got you covered, because you can catch this show again one more time, all the time, on our SoundCloud, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr pages, still all named the same, only known as Music Village Radio under the hashtag MusicVillage550. And the further up we go, yeah, the time jokes are gonna stick with it, because I'm pretty sure it was 550 when that traffic storm hit. And yes, I'm now calling it a traffic storm. Got a problem with it, Carl and the Maestro? Apparently not. Apparently not. And if you guys want to figure out what the crazy and zany things we still got prepared for this year of the fist, like a traffic storm that happens to hit somewhere just 10 minutes before 6, then you can go ahead and head on over to our YouTube, Discord, and Twitter pages, still named the same, only known as the Double Agent 0012. before we head out for the night, we would like to thank, as always, and seriously, from the bottom of our hearts, you the fans out there, for listening in to another milestone traffic jammed edition of Music Village. And like always, guys, thank you for watching, and seriously, 55 milestones. I would say that's a record, but according to Call of the Maestro, when we hit 700, it will be. And you're probably right. I think I'll tie with our on-average amount of shows we used to substitute back when we were in school. Or close to it, at least. Either way you look at it, folks, thank you for supporting a dream and keep up the great work. And if you like what you heard, go out there and spread the word. You know what? Like Bob Ubecker during that Miller Lite commercial. Yeah, you know the PR department knows where I'm going with this one, and they're wondering, why is this seat so high up when it should be at the front row? I don't know. And we would also like to thank you, the independent artists out there, for doing that musical goodness like you always do. And keep up the great work, guys. And here's hoping in the near future that you get a chance to play the organ at a local baseball game or have a baseball game performance. And why? Because we believe you guys. That's why. That's why. And speaking of people's performances that most likely will pack a stadium full of baseball fans in the near future one day, we would like to thank our musical guest for this week, none other than Tekno AXE with his said song, oh that's rich, with his song of Late Start that was featured during this week's Wolf Fighting edition of the DJ Smokey's True Video Game Stories. And we would also like to thank none other than Call in the Maestro with their said song of the Blue Collar Jam Session that's currently being featured during the outro for this week's edition of Music Village. And like always, guys, keep up the great work, and we can't wait to hear what you got coming down the tubes next. And finally, last but certainly not least, we would like to thank you, the independent gamers out there, for listening and delivering all those cool video game hits and clips we had a chance to mention during this week's show. And like always, guys, keep them coming. Seriously, keep them coming, because you never know what show might be lurking around the corner next. Hint, 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 hint. And I guess with everybody thanked, you guys out there know we go out. I'm DJ Smokey on behalf of Carl and the Maestro, and for this show, now turning 55 in the milestone category, saying, hey, great seats, buddy. Hey, he missed the tag. He missed the tag. But most importantly, when there's smoke, there's fire. And we'll see you guys next week for the very special 11-year homecoming milestone edition of Music Village. 2 milestones in less than 2 weeks. Gotta love it, folks. But until then, good night, everybody.